Welcome back. The trends for the Jharkhand and Maharashtra assembly elections have been coming in since morning. Now the results are sort of solidifying. The trends are, the leads are solidifying for various parties, various candidates, leading, trailing. It had been, Jharkhand was one state which had been kind of seesawing since morning, the uh, India Alliance taking the lead, then the BJP taking the lead for the initial round of counting. But now, for the last uh, couple of hours, it's been sort of, the trends have sort of stabilized with a very clear lead for the India Alliance of the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, the Congress Party, the RJD, and the CPI-ML. They are currently leading on about 51 seats as per the Election Commission data, 51 seats out of 81. The BJP is on 26 seats at this moment. And the BJP's ally, the AJSU, leading on just one seat. The Lok Jan Shakti Party, Ram Vilas, leading on just one seat. The Janata Dal United leading on just one seat. Now, as far as Jharkhand is concerned, one of the things that the BJP was very hopeful of, and which many political commentators had also been talking about, was how would the Congress's own performance in Jharkhand be? This is a state where, of course, the India Alliance is currently in power. They had won in 2019. The Congress at that point in time had won 16 of the assembly seats. The JMM winning 30 at that point, and winning 30 seats at that point. And now the Congress at this time is leading on 14. A lot of people felt that the Congress might pull the alliance down, but 14 is not such a bad number, although they were contesting. So that's like a 50% strike rate because they were contesting on 31 seats. So near 50% strike rate, 14 seats where they're leading at this hour. But then the devil, as they say, always lies in the detail. And it's interesting to see this mix of 14 seats. The interesting thing, which of course the Congress's own political managers will also need to assess, and I'm sure the JMM will also want some answers from the Congress on this aspect, is that out of the 16 seats that the Congress had won last time around, then there was also MLAs who had joined the Congress after the elections from Babulal Marandi's party. Babulal Marandi is now with the BJP. In 2019, he had his own party, the Jharkhand Vikas Morcha Prajatantrik, the JVMP. And the JVMP, one of the JVMP MLAs, Pradeep Yadav from Poreahat, had defected to the Congress. So the tally in that sense was 17 MLAs. The interesting thing is that out of those 17 MLAs, there were speculations even during ticket distribution that there is very heavy anti-incumbency against Congress MLAs, and which is why many felt that the Congress will pull the alliance down and could prevent the alliance from returning to power or retaining power. The interesting fact here now is that as per the leads at this hour, out of those 16, 17 sitting seats of the Congress is currently leading on 10. So that's a loss of about 7 seats, but they're picking up 4 new seats. Now, these seats again are interesting seats because one of them is the constituency of Mandu, which is in the Hazaribagh district. This is a constituency that had been a sort of BJP stronghold. There had been a BJP MLA for several terms there, Mr. Jaiprakash Bhai Patel. And just before Prakash Patel had defected to the Congress party. He was then fielded in the Lok Sabha elections by the Congress from Hazaribagh, but lost the election. He seems to be at, as the trend suggests right now, he is retaining his constituency of Mandu. So that's one addition to the Congress's tally. And similarly, there are a few other seats where the Congress is Kanke and Bokaro, which the Congress seems to be picking up. Uh, Overall, of course, since the focus would largely be on the seat tally, the Congress's performance hasn't been, uh, as a lot of people were saying, hasn't been poor, because it has managed to win, to at least show a strong performance in 14 seats. If these leads also solidify, then they'll have 14 MLAs, uh, which is not a bad tally. But the point for the Congress to ponder perhaps would be, why is it, and this is something that happens in various state elections, that a lot of incumbent Congress MLAs end up losing their seats. And this is something we've seen over and over again, whether it was in Haryana or in Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh, where incumbent Congress MLAs fail to get re-elected. In fact, there's an interesting parallel playing out in Maharashtra, where there's a saffron tsunami sweeping across the state. The Congress there had Mr. Balasaheb Thorat, who had been an 8-term MLA and was largely touted. He represents the Sangamner seat in Maharashtra, and many felt that the Sangamner seat is going to be a cakewalk for him. He's been the MLA from there for 8 terms, but he is currently trailing by a significant margin. So, back to Jharkhand, one aspect that the Congress will need to look at is, why is it that its MLAs, its incumbent MLAs, become unpopular every 5 years? Why is it that they fail to retain their seats? The second aspect, which perhaps as an alliance, as an afterthought later on for analysis or for internal discussions, uh, whether it's the India partners or the Congress itself, may want to look at, is this whole sort of an ego fight, or a ego tussle, or this during negotiations, where the Congress consistently tries to punch above its weight. Had uh, it's of course a matter of conjecture, but the JMM, which was contesting 51 seats, is currently leading, and leading with substantial leads on 31 of the seats that it out of those 51 that it contested. And so it's natural to ask whether, if the JMM had contested a few more seats and the Congress was a little more, liberal, magnanimous, by allocating or letting go of its own seats, giving them to the JMM, because the entire campaign in Jharkhand was also largely shouldered by Hemant Soren. Uh, Whether it was Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge or Lok Sabha's leader of opposition, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, they rarely campaigned. Very few rallies, press conferences that they addressed, and they had largely left the whole campaign to Hemant Soren. And Hemant Soren has delivered Jharkhand. So whether it would have been an even better proposition for the Congress to leave a few more seats to the JMM, considering that the JMM was the dominant party there, and generally there was a greater sense of public sympathy, public favor for Hemant Soren, and the alliance could have maybe maximized its gains further had the Congress not insisted on contesting at least a minimum of 30 seats. So that's perhaps some food for thought for them for later. But as of now, of course, on a day when they're losing, and very, very badly losing, Maharashtra, Jharkhand certainly comes as a consolation for the India alliance. And the Congress can take heart from the fact that, contrary to expectations, its performance in Jharkhand hasn't been very, very poor. They've managed a 50%, roughly 50% strike rate, which for the Congress under the current circumstances is not bad. But it does not take away from the fact that there is still a lot for the Congress to introspect in Jharkhand with regard to the space that it wants to hold, the space that it should or could have yielded to the JMM. Uh, its other ally, the RJD, had also been saying that we are in a better position on certain seats than the Congress, and we should be given more seats this time because we've worked harder. The RJD in the last assembly had two uh, MLAs. They were given 6 seats this time. They had been asking for at least they wanted at least 12, but they were given 6. Out of those 6, the RJD at this point is leading on 4. On another seat, the margin is very narrow. It's the BJP leading by a few hundred votes, and then the RJD. So that's one seat that is still oscillating within a very thin, slender margin. So there is that food for thought for the Congress. Why is it not able to maximize its gains? And if it is not able to maximize its appeal among the people, then why doesn't it give more seats to players who clearly seem to have, in the case of Jharkhand at least, a better chance of converting, their ground presence into actual victories?